Come on.
It's live.
Okay. What's up, everybody? We're trying to be prompt today, 7:32. Welcome to the live stream. Hope
Prompt.
everyone's doing well. Let us know how we are seen and heard, please.
I don't even have anybody yet, so
I was practicing.
we're practicing.
I don't even see mine yet.
Really?
Probably because I'm doing something wrong. So my head is firmly placed up my arse.
ARs.
Arse.
So I got one in here now. How's the audio? Hear us okay?
There must be something wrong with me because I can't see myself here. Serpent Stangs is live. I see you. Do you see me?
Yep.
So I'm live?
Yep.
Well, I don't know why I can't see myself, but I should have stayed in bed. I'm telling you. All
The
right,
video
so
is a lot better this time, it seems.
I'm sorry
The video quality seems to be better on your end.
because I put a light behind me. I bought another one of these nice LED adjustable lights and dialed it in the other day, I think. So hopefully that helps as it gets darker. I also lowered my microphone, put it on a shorter stand. And what I may do is take this light behind me and put it up there. I have a lot to play around with yet, but it's been a challenging week, as normal.
Just
Your
lower
audio
and
seems good to me. So you had one hell of a weekend there, my friend. Towing out to go racing on Saturday, and then yet a different kind of racing, probably more exhilarating and more tiring on Sunday. Let's talk about that a moment. So, let me know. Did you meet? I mean, when you do something like that, do you meet, like, set a goal and say, I want to accomplish this, or is it just like a shakedown run to get the dust off you?
A lot of times it is. A lot of times it is a specific goal that I have set, like a lap time that I'm going after or something like that. But this weekend, it was more just to go out and have fun. Went out with a bunch of friends to Talladega GP. So just wanted everybody just get some seat time, have a good time, and helped people out with trying to find better lap times and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I really didn't have like a specific goal this time, and I took out the 18. So the 18 is more like my fun track day car as opposed to trying to go out and hit a certain time or anything like that. It really wasn't even set up 100% to do that, but still went out and laid down some really good times for what it is. And on Sunday, we went out to Barber Motorsports Park with the R1M.
Mm-hmm.
That, I'll tell you what, man, the bike is probably more fun on track than the cars are, but it's just, I don't know, it's hard to put my finger on what it is. Like, it's just, I can't see myself doing that as much as I want to do it in the cars, if that makes sense. Like, it's just too much to go wrong. Like,
Well,
one way,
it's got to be scary, right?
well, I don't really have fear when I'm on the bike. Honestly, when I'm off the bike, when I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
like what did I just do, kind of thing.
yeah, on the bike, on the track, I don't have any fear of like going down or anything like that. But I do look at, I always look at statistics. So to do what I do on a car, to get to a high level in the car, you don't have to have any serious mishap. It can happen, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You can have mishaps on track in the car. I mean, obviously that can happen. But plenty of people get to the advanced level in cars without ever having, I mean, knock on wood, I've yet to completely lose control of a car. I've made it all the way up into the advanced levels. I'm going for my competition license this year, hopefully, and I've yet to even lose control of a car. If you talk to people that do track days religiously, you're not going to get to the advanced level on a bike without having, down. You're going to go down. you're going to crash, or you're just not going to get to that level. And the type of person I am when it comes to anything motorsports, I take it to the extreme. I want to be one of the faster guys on track. If I'm not, I feel like I'm doing something wrong, and I want to learn what I'm doing wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I think it's just something that I'll try to do once or twice a year. You know what I mean?
I see.
But a ton of fun. Hopefully, I got some decent footage for the bike day. Um, there were some unforeseen issues that I had to deal with as far as getting footage. I guess they have a new rule, or I don't know how new it is. To me, it's new, that you can't have a GoPro on your helmet for this particular group. So I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't want to stick a bunch of GoPro mounts all over my freaking $20,000 R1M.
Right.
So I was in kind of a predicament. My whole plan was to have a GoPro mounted on my helmet and give first person, kind of footage of the bike track day. But then, I had to figure something else out, and all I could really do, especially they won't any GoPros mounted on the bike, they have to be tethered back to the bike. So it wasn't like I could just stick GoPros all over the bike and ride out. So all I ended up being able to do was I put a GoPro mount on the inside of my windshield on the bike, and got some good straight ahead footage, hopefully, and hopefully I can make a decent video out of that. But got some good footage from the car day as well. So I was super tired after yesterday. Spent the whole weekend on track. Yesterday all day out on the bike on track, and then drove all the way home from Alabama. So obviously, when I got home, I freaking slept like a baby.
Right.
And then I had to work today, so I wanted to have the footage out already from the car track day today. But after the live stream tonight, I'll probably get going on the editing on that, and hopefully I'll have it out tonight. But if not, it'll definitely be out tomorrow. At least one of the videos.
That's great. Now, as far as the GoPros and stuff on a vehicle or on a bike or something, I mean, that seems to be popping up at different tracks when I watch different things from folks. It's not the only track that's doing that. So I guess it's a safety thing that someone doesn't want to,
Well, the tethering thing, yeah, and that's 100% understandable. But the thing is I wasn't prepared to. I wasn't planning on mounting any GoPros to the bike, because to mount a GoPro to the bike, you have to put one of them damn sticky, mounts on the paint job somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to do that. So my plan was to just have a GoPro mounted on the front of my helmet and give good first person footage of the rides. But once they announced that they're not going to allow people to have GoPros on their helmets, I had to figure out something else. The tethering thing's 100% understandable, and that sometimes even for car track days, it's sometimes not a rule per se, but it's kind of respectful towards the others that are there. A GoPro can come off your car, and it's not cool if it hits somebody else's expensive car. So if you're putting a GoPro on the outside of your car, you should definitely tether it back to the car somehow.
Yeah,
that part of it's understandable.
There's that, and I mean, what if it caused an accident or something too? I mean, someone could spin out.
They actually mentioned that at the riders meeting at the bike day, that I guess I wasn't there on Saturday. I was doing the car thing, but on Saturday, somebody didn't have their GoPro tethered, and it caused another rider to crash. So they were extra, strict about it on Sunday, unfortunately for me.
Well, I just got notified that nobody can see me. So.
Really?
Nope.
I think they can. Can you guys see Mike on my side? Because I think they said that they can see.
And nothing says I'm on. So, and I just checked. I don't see myself on. So
maybe they can see you in my stream.
Yeah,
but you're
they
not
can't
live
see
on
me.
your channel.
They can't see my stream is dead. I can't see myself, and no one who's watching.
Yeah, they're saying they can see us both. So
yeah, but they were seeing it through you, not through me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you wanted to kill the stream and
I killed mine and brought it back. So what I'm going to do is kill mine again. I don't want to knock you off.
Yeah.
Let me stop mine. And I'll start it again.
It's weird that it put me through and not you.
Well, they know who the star is. I'm just the
Yeah.
question asker. Everyone knows who the big show is here. Shit, I don't know what the f is going on. I have to figure this out. Okay, let's see. I retried.
So yeah, hopefully I could have that footage for you guys up later tonight, but if not, it'll be up tomorrow from the track day. I did have some I did finally get the chance to drive a ZL1 1LE on track, so that was awesome to say the least. It's a
Really?
badass car. Yeah.
That is. How does it compare to? I mean, can you reveal how it compares to?
Yeah, I mean, I told you guys I don't do that kind of stuff on my channel. Like, I don't want to, if I'm going to put out a video, I'm not going to go out and literally describe the entire video to you guys. But I don't hold secrets from the channel, in anticipation for a video. But, dude, it's it's definitely faster than the 350R. There's no doubt about that. I still I still think that completely unbiased opinion. I still think the 350R is a better track car.
Is it
If I had
faster everywhere, or is there a specific range it's faster?
no, it's not faster everywhere, but you have to understand it's just as good at everything that the R does well, and it's a faster car. So it's just faster. Like there, I don't, you know what I mean? Like even on a small track, I feel like it's slightly faster.
Hmm.
But it's a powerhouse, man, and you got to be on your toes at all times with that thing. Whereas like the R is just it's a point and shoot kind of car, and it's really good at putting the power down. I mean, it's high revving, so you can really spin out. It just for if you asked me which car do you want to trailer to the track 10 times a year, it's going to be 350R every time. I just feel like it's a better balanced track car.
Wow.
But
Now, does that additional power, does it make it harder to manage?
absolutely, and that's why I say, it's hard to put my finger exactly on what it is, but that's why I say the 350R is a better track car. It's just better at putting the power down. It's better at using what it has, if that makes sense. The ZL1 can be very tricky on a tight track to get a good lap out of because you got to be careful of the amount of power that it has. It's
Right.
really that simple. On a small tight track, where you might want second gear to come out of a corner, it just has way too much power to really, point it out of the corner and put the power down. So you might want to grab up a gear, and then maybe that gear is you know, a little bit too long for, putting the amount of power you can put down in that, coming out of that particular corner. So I would say this. There's no doubt the ZL11LE is faster, but I would say this that 99% of people. Oh, my stream just started spinning there. Just froze up. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Well, hopefully they still can too. 99% of people, I would bet, are going to be faster in the 350. I would say close to 100%. 100% of non-professional or very seasoned track day drivers are going to be faster in the 350R, undoubtedly.
That's interesting because people would, especially myself, I would think, oh, it's a quicker car, handles just good, should be able to get there quicker. But not necessarily if you have a lack of confidence or there is, a manageable an issue where the car is not manageable and can get out of hand quicker. It's I mean it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about my stream, but
Yeah, my video just now popped back up. Hopefully they were able to hear us there.
it's up to you if you want me to shut down and bop.
Well, it just came
just
back
turn it
up.
off and shut the software, turn it back on. I don't know. It's up to you. I don't want to ruin your stream, but I'm not live, and I don't know what else to do.
There's some cool stuff. Good afternoon, boys. Mike, enjoyed your last update. Wish you the best. That was from There's Some Cool Stuff. Steve, did you hear about Xander's bad luck? Yeah, I did,
Yes.
unfortunately. Man, I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than having issues when you're freaking far away from home. That is the worst feeling. And I've been there, so I know. But yeah, that sucks, man. That he's stuck out there freaking in the middle of nowhere, 10 hours away from home.
Thankfully, there's some subscribers that are close and can, have offered help or, said they'll help him or whatever. So at least he's not abandoned completely, thankfully.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what he said he was going to do was get his car towed back to Stang Mode's area and bring it to a dealer there, and he'll probably just fly back home and then have to fly back and get it. It's a giant nightmare, obviously, but
I just don't know. I mean, maybe if it's the transmission or something. I mean, if it's insurance, I guess it doesn't matter if he's got any
I mean,
modifications.
my guess is whatever it popped, whatever ran over, either put a hole or cracked the pan or ripped the line out of the side. So I would think it probably won't be too bad. It probably won't be too big of a deal to get it repaired, hopefully. Then he also asked if we use water wetter, either of us. I use sometimes purple ice from Royal Purple, which is pretty much like the same thing. It's like a additional cooling agent. The cooler thermostats are a good idea if you're going to track, but keep in mind on the newer cars you do need a tune with the cooler thermostats. But definitely a good idea for a track guy.
I haven't changed anything, but when I go and decide to do a larger intercooler with fans, I will probably look at that. I have heard of water wetter, and I've heard it does help. So I mean, that was something I was going to run by you when I get to it, but it sounds like it's a good concept.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. A lot of the tracks don't want you running like coolant per se, especially if it's like a purpose-built track car or if you run in like the advanced groups and stuff like that.
Right.
And a lot of guys will just do that, like the water wetter and water or whatever.
I am trying to get my stream up desperately. I don't know. It's always something. I tell you. Working?
Well, the good thing is they can just tune in over here and they can see and hear both of us if anybody can't.
All right, it's finally working.
Oh, it is? Okay. Good.
I'm sorry to give me 1 second, Steve. I'm sorry to folks on my side. I really don't know what the hell happened, but what didn't happen is my stream worked at the same time Steve's did. So, fortunately, it decided to get back on track here. So now I could see if there's anybody. Yeah, and I've got 3 folks watching. Thank you for being patient, folks.
But yeah, about the ZL11LE, man, I'll tell you what, dude. I was really, really impressed with that thing.
Was it a manual or automatic?
Manual. They only came in manual up until I think this year they're doing a 10-speed auto.
I want to say
This is the ZL11LE. This is like the all-out track version. And I knew the thing was going to be fast. Like that was, it wasn't surprising in that aspect. It was surprising in how well balanced it was. I really expected it to be like a powerhouse that, had good grip and just, really nasty brakes, which I guess essentially that's what it is. But it was really surprising how well balanced it is. It doesn't understeer. It doesn't feel like it has a super heavy nose. It's super well balanced. It's fast as you could want a track car to be. Probably too fast in some. You get that thing on a good track like Road Atlanta or VIR. I'm sure it's perfect in every way, shape, or form. This was a very small, tight track.
Hmm.
And that's why I think it surprised me so much, because I expected the ZL1 1LE to be, you know, not necessarily a one trick pony for that type of track, but in a sense, yeah, like I expected it to be, it really needed to be on that type of track to shine, like a Road Atlanta, a VIR, a really, a Coda, a really fast track, a fast, big track. And it's
And you
just not the
feel,
case. I mean, the thing is super well balanced. It doesn't understeer. It doesn't have any issues whatsoever with tight technical stuff.
well, I mean, it does good on these larger tracks, right? And it gets very, very high ratings from track enthusiasts. And heck, that's, that they really did well with that vehicle. And if there was going to be a ZL1 or a Z28, let me try that again. If there was going to be a Camaro I would buy, it would definitely be a ZL1 1LE. They are just sweet cars. Really sweet.
Yeah. I mean, it is a gorgeous car too. Like it's a really mean looking car,
Yep.
especially like the front end of it. It's
I love
super
that thing.
aggressive looking. I like the car. I mean, I liked it even more after driving it. I'm not gonna lie.
I just don't. How did you? And this is something I'm not experienced with because what's up, underfed? I never driven a late model Camaro. I did sit in a 2010 or a 2011, and it's a little different than this, but that was no good. How did you feel? I mean, you're about the same height as I am. How did you feel in the car? Did you feel cramped? Did you feel like you could see? Did it feel weird to you? Because I've always been
Nope,
curious.
nope. You know what, man? Like honestly, like I didn't. I don't see really any bit bad. And keep in mind, guys, like I'm 6'2", 215, 220 pounds. Like most of the guys say, like, oh, if you're short or whatever, like it's not really that. It's the taller guys that you can't see at it. I don't find it to be that bad visibility wise. Like it's, yeah, the windows are a little bit narrow, but I don't see that. Everybody cries about that you can't see out of the thing. It
Yeah, I
seems
don't know
fine.
that it's as bad as people make it out to be.
Yeah,
But again, I've not touched one. It's my intent to because I like that car.
yeah, yeah. I mean, nothing really bad to say about the car, to be honest with you.
Now, does it feel heavier than, in the front or the back than say, what you're used to with your R?
Yes, but that's what it surprised me in. You know what I mean? Like I expected it to really feel like I expected it to show its weakness. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
expected it to show its weakness on that particular track. That it's gonna want to scrub the front end. It's gonna be really pushy and it's gonna. But it's not the case, man. It feels a lot like the 350R, but with an extra 100 horsepower.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah,
One day I'll drive one for sure.
yeah.
I think
But
they
with all
started.
that being said, and again, I hope you can sense by what I'm praising, the way I'm praising the car, that none of my opinions are biased ever. But I will still say that I would take the as a track car, I would take the 350R every day over that car.
I'm
Like
going to
if
assume
you
you
just
can
said
push.
which one do you want to drive around track all day long, I'm gonna pick the 350R every time.
You can
Just
probably
too
push the
fun.
car better because of the less powerful engine. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, and the difference in lap times are going to be so. And again, I want to retouch on that. I would bet my bottom dollar that 99% of people are going to be faster in the 350R. So if you're buying the car because you want to put down the best possible lap, if you're after lap times and you're buying the car, I would say you probably still going to be faster in a 350R on most tracks.
That's interesting.
Most tracks are, especially newer track. Any track that was built in the last 25 years or so, they're just not as long and fast as they used to be in the old days. So most tracks, most people, you're going to be faster in the 350R.
Well,
But
that's great that you probably wanted to drive, you probably want to know what the competition is, for your current vehicle and the future GT500, because, I mean, yeah, competitive stuff kind of keeps you driven, keeps the automakers putting out their best vehicles. And I mean, it'd be really nice to be able to drive that, which is a very highly regarded vehicle, and have your R under your belt, and then eventually, get your GT500, and then, whatever's next. Have you ever driven a Vet?
I'm really glad I got a chance to drive the ZL1 1LE in anticipation to the new GT500 because it gives me, it gives me a fair opinion.
Right.
It gives me a fair place to give my opinion, I guess you would say. Where a lot of people give their opinions and they don't have the place to give it because they're just basing it on what a magazine said or what they see aesthetically or.
Well, I mean, I already knew the R was better.
I have a 18 GT Performance Pack 10 Auto that I road course twice a month. Main issue is cooling. Already installed oil cooler, but the main issue is now the trans overheats at 230 degrees Fahrenheit. Paddle shift hesitates a lot. Yes, I've actually touched on that when I did my 1-year review video on the 18 GT, and I basically said that I don't think that if you're a track guy, I don't think the 10-speed is a good option. I mean, yes, you can start putting coolers on it and left and right, but to touch on the paddle shift hesitate thing, I noticed that pretty much after 1 or 2 laps on track. Like, after I put 1 or 2 good hot laps in, the thing just doesn't want to let me downshift. And it's, I in my opinion, I should be able to downshift twice, and it doesn't want to let me downshift once. It just flashes. You'll go to grab the downshift lever, and it just flashes. It doesn't want to let you downshift.
You're talking
and then if
manual
you just try
downshift?
What's that?
You're talking like with the paddle downshift?
Right. Yeah. When you're on track. And, you're hard braking for a corner, you got to remember this thing's a 10-speed too. So I just feel like it's not the greatest transmission for a track guy. It's a 10-speed, you're shifting a lot, and then you have to do a lot of downshifting, and the thing doesn't want to let you downshift as soon as it gets hot. So you run through a corner, you run through a straightaway, 7th, 8th gear sometimes, and then you got to get it down to 2nd or 3rd for like a hairpin. And it's not reactive enough to let you downshift 5 times real fast.
And I mean, that's
Especially
a long
when
way to
it
go
gets
down.
hot.
That's a long way to go down.
Yeah, and you could put a transmission cooler on it, but it seems to me like it's a logic that seems to get worse as it heats up. I don't think it's like a hard switch that like at 230 degrees now we're not going to let you downshift. I think it's like the hotter it gets, the less RPM it's going to let you turn on a downshift. So as you start to get up to 230 degrees, it's probably just going to say, okay, we're not going to let you downshift to above 5,000 RPM. And that was my original. I had originally planned out I was gonna put a trans cooler and a diff cooler on the thing. That's the other thing. As soon as you put a trans cooler on it, it's gonna start overheating the diff.
I mean,
Mine's back and forth.
At what point do you stop with that and say, I'm going to leave this alone, or I'm going to...
Well, in defense of anybody, of a track car, that of a track build, in defense of any track build, you're going to need a trans cooler, an oil cooler, and a diff cooler. like on pretty much any serious track car. You know, if you're tracking like this, you know, Italian Stang, he's saying he tracks twice a month. Anybody that tracks twice a month probably, you know, I'm sure he understood that there's certain things that you're gonna have to do to get it, you know, serious. He's a serious track guy, obviously, if he's tracking twice a month. So he understands that you got to add coolers and you got to add brakes all the time and you got to go through tires left and right. And there's just expense that we know we're going to go through, you know, we're going to incur.
Yeah, but I mean, gosh, the reward, I've never done anything like that. And the reward has got to be something else. I hopefully will one day be able to ride along with you, feel well enough to withstand a 10 minutes or so in Road Atlanta, because I would like to know what that feels like, just because I've never been one that took turns fast and never learned, really how to do it, whether it be a motorcycle or cars, so it would be interesting to see what a car can do. Actually, ideally, I would like to put my car with the right tires on it and that shifter and other things we're going to talk about.
See, I think that the DCT on the GT500 is going to make it everything that I wanted the 10-speed to be. Like when
I think so too.
Yeah, when I dreamt about the 10-speed on track, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like super fast DCT, like upshifts, and crisp downshift. I totally didn't see the whole. I totally knew that the thing's going to overheat the tranny and the diff. I mean, that was inevitable if it didn't have coolers on it. But I didn't think that you wouldn't be able to downshift. I just figured like eventually it's going to go into limp mode and say, no. You know what I mean?
Well, right. But
and the shift logic, just because a couple people have mentioned to me, oh, we'll just put it in sport mode or put it in drive and let it do its thing. No, like if you're anywhere near the advanced level on track, you're going to see real quick the 10 speeds disadvantages on track.
It's too many gears, flat out. Right?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was too many gears if it was crisp and consistent every single time, but it's not.
I see.
And the problem with the car shift logic is it's not right for anybody that's even close to advanced on track. It's not right. It's going to downshift at times that you don't want it to, or it's not going to downshift. And then you're going to find yourself lugging out of a corner going, what the hell, why didn't it downshift one more time? Or, it's you come out of a corner and you start rolling on the throttle, and then all of a sudden it says, oh, wait, you know what? We should be down a gear. And, now I'm rolling on the throttle, and all of a sudden it decides to downshift one time, and I'm still, opening up the wheel, tracking out. And now it downshifts and upsets the car, and it's not. From what I've heard from Billy Johnson, who's the development driver on the GT500, he says that the shift logic in this thing rivals PDK, and PDK is known for the best on-track shift logic. And when I say shift logic, I mean like letting the car do its thing. Forget the paddle shifters, just put the car in drive and let it do its thing.
Mm-hmm.
If Billy says that the shift logic is that good, then it's that good.
Well, is PDK a transmission company? I'm not familiar, so.
PDK is Porsche's dual clutch transmission.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. That would have to be a good one then.
Now, just to be clear, when I keep saying 10-speed, I'm making like a blanket statement. I'm specifically referring to the 10R80 as spec'd in a Mustang GT. If they wanted to make a 10-speed work on track, it's absolutely something they could do, I'm sure. Different logic, coolers affixed from the factory, that's all going to change. He's asking about the ZL1 1LE when it comes with the 10-speed on track. I'm sure it's going to be incredible.
That's a 10. That's a 10 R90 though, isn't it?
Well, it's not the fact that it's not a 10R80. It's just that it's coming from the factory with track use in mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you have logic or programming that is more.
Not only the shift logic and programming that's designed to work on track primarily, but the cooling capabilities, fixed from the factory. Because that's most of the issue that we're talking about on the 10 speed on track. On I keep saying 10 speed, but on the 10R80 and the GTs is overheating. As the transmission gets hot, it starts to constrict what it can do. So if you can keep the heat out of it, you can do your own coolers or whatever, then I'm sure you could probably fix this issue. The issue as far as working with the paddles. The shift logic, there's probably not much you can do with that unless you want to hire a tuner to sit there and figure that logic out with you and get the car shifting the way you'd like. I would recommend just using paddle shifters because for one, it's more fun and you have more control over it.
Mm-hmm.
But after driving, I'll tell you what, a lot of people find it hard to believe, and it's because of the Nürburgring times. You have to understand that the reason why that thing posts such good Nürburgring times is because of how fast it is. It has 650 horsepower, and it's really fast. And when you compare it to cars, when you see how good of a time it puts down on the Nürburgring compared to other supercars and really track-oriented vehicles, you're forgetting the fact that the thing has 650 horsepower and that Nürburgring literally has straightaways that are 2 miles long. So the thing, a lot of people have trouble believing that the GT500 is going to be so much faster than it or really surpass it on track. But I could promise you after driving the ZL11LE on track, that it's the GT500 is probably going to be quite a bit quicker on track. Because I see so much 350R in the ZL11LE. It's really just the power. There's nothing else that I can put my finger on and say it does it better. It's just more powerful. It doesn't stop better. It doesn't handle better. It doesn't have more mechanical grip. It just does it all just as good, and then it's faster. You know what I'm saying? It's a quicker car. The GT500, I've already gotten some confirmation on the fact that the thing is going to have more grip than the 350R. You know what I'm saying? We know that. It's got more downforce and more grip than the 350R. That's pretty much been confirmed, not from Ford, but if you know who to listen to, it's been confirmed. That being said, with up to 100 horsepower more than the ZL1, not than the 350R. Think about that. I'm telling you that I've driven the ZL11LE on track, and it doesn't handle better than the 350. It doesn't brake better than the 350. It just does it just as good. And it's faster. So that's what makes it faster on the track. Now keep in mind that car has 100 more horsepower than the 350. The ZL1. Actually a little more than 100. It's about 125 more horse. If the 500 is going to have more grip and brake better than the 350R, keep in mind that it's going to have close to 200 horsepower more. And a DCT transmission that's going to be a lot better at putting it down than the 350, 6-speed. That thing's going to put down the power really well.
No doubt.
So the thing is going to be an absolute beast on track. I can't wait.
I got a question for you, man. Is PDK still used in the M Series BMW?
PDKs are Porsche only.
Okay.
But BMWs do use dual clutch transmissions.
Okay, but not PDK. Okay.
PDK is just Porsche's own terminology for their version of the dual clutch transmission. As far as I know, I don't think there's any special technology in the PDK that makes it a different animal than a typical dual clutch transmission. I just think that it's Porsche's own terminology for it. But yes, the M cars do come dual clutch transmission.
Yeah, we have a comment, and that the 4,200 pounds on the GT500. Well, we shall see. It really depends on
Yeah, but
how it wears there.
understand that a ZL1 pushes 4,000 pounds. And again, like, as you guys get to know me more and more, you're going to realize how much I hate just like doing that whole spec stat paper to paper crap. Like, listen to the engineers, listen to the development drivers that are building this stuff. They're not going to lie to you. Go to Billy Johnson's page on Instagram. There's plenty of stuff that he posts about this car that you guys can see for yourself. And when he says that it's going to have more lateral grip than the 350R and it's going to stop better than the 350R, where is the weight going to become relevant other than on that piece of paper?
Oh, no,
I mean,
they're compensating for
let's just say the car weighs 5,000 pounds. If it has more lateral grip than the 350R and 200 more horsepower, like, do you understand how much faster it's going to be? Like, where does the weight become relevant other than on that piece of paper? If it can't, you know what I'm saying? You have to show me somewhere where it's hindering the car. Like, oh
Well,
yeah,
we don't know. We don't know because it's not going to be that kind of specs can tell you so much. They're engineering
well, that's
around
why
that
I'm
weight.
saying, like, that's exactly what I mean. Specs, you have to understand what you're looking at sometimes when you're reading specs. If all you do is look at the weight and you go, oh, well, it's a heavy ass car, but can it manage the weight? How big are the tires? How big are the brakes? These are the things that, you know, we feel weight based on what is there to. I'm trying to think of a good way to articulate this. When we feel the weight of a car, it's there. It's feelable based on what the car can do to manage that weight. So tires, so brakes, so accelerate horsepower. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it's a moot point. So if a car weighs 5,000 pounds, if an engineer can figure out how to put a certain set of tires on it and a certain set of brakes on it, and it stops better than a freaking Miata, does it matter to me that it weighs 5,000 pounds? That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to
It
articulate.
really that number means nothing if it's engineered and designed to work within those parameters. It could be
Right.
10,000
That's all I'm saying.
pounds.
Right,
Really.
that's all I'm trying to say.
I
So
get what you're
yes, the
saying.
thing,
I get what
there's
you're
no
saying.
doubt
And
this thing is going to be heavy on paper. When you start comparing it to where we've been, weight wise, yep, 4,200 pounds. It's a tank on paper.
now
But
we
I'm
do
saying
have a thing here. Is there there is supposedly some new Z28 that's rumored to be coming.
a what?
That's the first I've heard. I've heard they were going to shut down Camaro. So I mean, maybe it's just some.
Yeah, like John Smith just said here on my channel, my GT350 feels like a Honda S2000 with power. That's a great point. Many people that have reviewed the GT350 soon after the release said the same exact thing, because a lot of people, when they said they're doing this track car, people saw the weight on the thing. They said, holy crap, 3,800 pounds? They're like, oh, it's a tank. And then people, they got them on track. The reviewers got them in their hands, and everybody said this. It feels so light on its feet. It's amazing how good it handles. It's amazing. So my point is what does it matter what it weighs as long as they can figure out a way to manage the weight? They add the power to make it pull. They give you the brakes to make it stop. They give me the tires to make it grip laterally. Then what does it matter?
Well, I
It's
guess
going to
it
cost
doesn't
more to
matter at
run.
the end
That's
of the
what
day.
it's going to. That's what. Well, there's one thing. It's going to cost more to run. For somebody that is a serious track guy, if you track twice a month, things like that, tire costs, brake pad costs, fuel to get the thing down track, all that's going to go up for sure. But if you're just into the performance aspect of it and you comparing specs, you got to look at it for what it is.
Right.
It's going to be 4,200 pounds, but it's going to have more lateral grip than a 350R. It's going to stop better than a 350R, and we know it's going to accelerate better. So that means it's going to do everything better than a 350R. And we know how well that car was taken.
Yeah, I mean that thing is, probably not the kind of car I would want to drive daily, but on a track would probably be an amazing experience.
And that's one thing, about the whole daily thing. When I drove the ZL11LE this weekend, it kind of occurred to me that to go back on what I said about how, like, if you put both cars in front of me and said, "Here, take one to the track 10 times a year, which one do you pick?" And I picked the 350R every time. Maybe I'd go the other way if you said, "Which one do you want to drive every day on the street?" Maybe I'd go ZL1. And I'm trying to look. I personally wouldn't, because I do have a place for Mustangs in my heart. So just because I might be biased with my actual buying decisions doesn't mean I'm biased with my opinions and my views on things. So if I wasn't a Ford guy and I wasn't a Mustang guy, I think the ZL1 is probably a better car for the street, because you're going to have that grunt. You're going to have that, it's 650 horsepower. I think the interior in the cars might be a little bit nicer. It's got a lot more like Alcantara on the dash, and like it's a gorgeous car, no doubt. Both cars are great cars. But I think that the 350R is probably a better street car. I'm sorry, better track car for the all-out track guy. And I think the ZL1 would probably be a more fun car to drive around the road every day and maybe take to the track once a year.
And the ZL1 could be had with that 10 speed too, if that was a consideration for daily, if that was an issue, you wanted a automatic for daily.
I enjoy this. I enjoy a manual on track so much, man. Like, I think also driving the 1LE on track this weekend kind of did make me a little bit more upset for the fact that the GT500 is not going to come manual option. I think I would still, because I've said this before, but because I'm keeping the 350R, I'd probably still go DCT on this car. But if it wasn't for that, I would be devastated that you can't get the car with a stick shift.
That DCT, however, is not going to be like your. I mean, we're anticipating it to not be anything.
Yeah, but it's
like
just so
the 10
much.
speed.
No, 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 and that has nothing to do with my anticipation of there being problems or anything like that. It just has to do with pure fun factor, pure
Okay.
engagement. Like, I really enjoy, rev matching and heel toe downshifting and just throwing gears, and it's just a lot of fun.
I've loved it since I was a kid. Majority of my cars that were of some performance had a
And one of the big things that
manual.
usually you'll find on track that separate, like, the novice guys are always, they're just learning, man. They're out there learning the track usually, or just getting used to driving at that kind of pace. But the thing that usually separates the intermediate guys from the advanced guys is the ability to really properly drive a stick on track. Typically your intermediate guys, they're fast on track, but they still have that break in a straight line, get your downshift done, and then they're good. They know how to roll speed, they know how to take corners well, they know the line well, but they just don't have that ability to drive all the way, trail braking into the corner and then execute a heel toe downshift while already turning into a corner. That's what usually separates, like, your advanced guys from your intermediate guys, and I take pride in that. And I not only take pride in it, but it's super satisfying and it's a lot of fun.
I bet. I mean, again, I've been for as long as I can go and use this arm to go from the steering wheel to the shifter and back, and occasionally balance with my fingers the wheel. I'm going to keep my current setup because it's the fun factor. I'm not racing. I don't care about the ultimate 0 to 60. I don't care about launching. The pleasure of driving that and having driven a manual most of my life in some form, I'll do it until I can't do that. Then I don't know what I'll do, but I'm going to keep the manual as long as I can physically deal with it. And I
Yeah,
mean, fun factor, but it's not about what's faster. It's about what's more fun. Because I mean,
exactly.
you're not
Exactly.
0 to 60ing or quarter miling every time you stop at a light when you're driving to, the grocery store or wherever you're going. You know, I mean, you're enjoying. That's the whole point. So
Right.
now that doesn't
And
mean
I
I don't
find
want
it more
another
fun.
vehicle.
I always say this to, everybody that goes to the track with me knows I say this a lot, but I find it a lot more fun to be the guy in the slower car. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to be out there in the 350R or the ZL11LE, passing people, but it's a lot more fun and self gratifying to be the guy in the slower car passing the guy in the 350R or the ZL1. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It, there's just a certain gratification that you get from that, and that's the fun of it. So it's not necessarily comparing to other cars; it's comparing with yourself. Like, you get out on track and you'd be surprised even from the time that you kind of learn a track. Like, so not from the time that you're a total green on track and have never even been on track, but even once you've learned the track and you've been there a few times, you'd be surprised how much there is to gain without doing anything to the car, just by learning. And that just doesn't,
your
you don't
ability.
get that with drag racing at all. You're stuck in your setup. And one thing I hated about drag racing is I always said you're racing wallets. Like, it's my wallet versus your wallet. Love drag racing. I always will. Like, I'll always have a special place for it. It's what I kind of grew up on. But at the end of the day, you're racing wallets. It's like, here's my wallet. Pull out your wallet. Let's see whose wallet had more in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
well,
like, on
what
track,
what you're trying to say is you could be in your or I could be in your GT350R and get my ass whipped by a Miata because I don't know what I'm doing. And that's what you're trying to say.
You would. And that's what I love about the track.
Well, I'm sure I would, because you know what?
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, I see that a lot with, like, newer comers to the track. I hate to say it, but I see a lot of people crash their cars because of, like, what they saw in the magazine or what, I can't tell you many times, not only have I seen people crash their car, but almost crash their car because maybe I'm behind them, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if it's in their head, they're going, well, that's not what the magazine said. Like, I should be faster. And then next thing you know, it's like, there they go off track.
Yeah, well, I mean, it comes back to something I made a reference to before when, everyone run out, buy your car and start modding it. Learn your car. And in no situation is that more critical than
But a lot of people, they come to the track and they buy, like a brand new Camaro or a new Mustang or whatever. And then they just don't understand, like, how they're getting passed by these cars. And, like, I'm driving it like something's. I've literally seen people say that their cars are broken. I'm like, dude, there's nothing wrong with that car.
Right.
Like,
you
no,
just
it's
don't know
not
how to
right.
drive it
I
yet.
got passed by a Corvette, and, like, this car's freaking $100,000 track car, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you need to learn how to drive it, dude.
That's right. I mean, more than anything, road course type of stuff is a skill over wallet. You can take whatever combination of car, and I would never dare to even step foot on one unless it was completely open and I had it to myself and I could just toot through it like a grandma, because I don't know what to do. I'm not going to kid myself or anyone else.
Yeah. There's definitely, like, a humbling that comes with the track thing. Everybody kind of goes through that.
Now, going back to, you took your 18 this time and it's your fun version to take out. When does the R get its, springtime?
At the end of this month. At the end of this month, we're hopefully. Well, Tunnel Chaser's already signed up, so
right.
As far as I know, we're all go for that. But yeah, Tunnel Chaser's coming down, and we're gonna be at the Corvette Museum track, and I'm hoping I'm gonna try to make a really good video out of that, because and actually I want to touch on this a little bit. A lot of times, man, it's like, my favorite thing to do of anything is the track stuff.
I'm going to get a beer.
Go
Carry
ahead.
on, right back.
Go ahead. My favorite thing to do is the track stuff, but a lot of times I find that the hardest thing to make good content on because and I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I feel like there's no point to the video. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, here we are, we're at the track. Okay, we're going to go around the track. Okay, here's some footage of going around the track. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Like, what's the point of the video? And then the other side of that coin is like, the track events, I usually have so much going on. I'm trailering my cars. I'm packing up, loading the truck with all these tools. I got like 25,000 things on my mind. I want to enjoy the weekend. I'm waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You guys that do track days know, you're waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're leaving the hotel. You got drivers meetings. You're tired as shit. And it's just like, I don't know any other way to put it. How a lot of times it just takes away from the enjoyment of the event, and then I feel like my videos definitely suffer because I don't put the effort into the gathering of footage, I guess you'd say, because I'm just trying to enjoy the event, and I'm tired. I'm going nonstop. So I really want to try to like figure out a way to make the track videos more interesting and bring more people, into that, because most of the people that watch my channel I know are more into like the drag racing thing, and I probably got a lot more subscribers off the 2018 and the Nitro stuff than I have off doing the track day stuff. So I definitely want to figure out a way to, make the track videos more interesting and more engaging and get more people into watching it. Because if you search on YouTube for like track footage, like it's literally like they're some of the worst videos on YouTube. Like they never get any views. Nobody watches it. Yeah, show people how to improve. Yeah, see, I honestly, that's where I want to get. I want to start doing more like tutorials type stuff and just a lot of the things I like, for example, I'll use the ZL1 1LE thing, for example. Like a lot of that stuff isn't planned. So I'll be at the track and, my buddy came out with the ZL1 1LE. I knew he was coming, obviously, but, he had asked me to go out on track with him and do a little instructing, show him the line and stuff. So I did that. And then, I wasn't planned. What I'm getting at is it wasn't planned that I was going to drive his car. So, I was doing some instructing after the session. He had actually rode with me in my car. And once he rode with me in my car, he realized, like, okay, if I want to see what this car can do, let him drive it. So once he rode with me in my car, and then I did a session instructing him in his car, as soon as we got out, he said, hey, man, like, I'd love to see what this car can do here. Would you mind, throwing down a lap in it? So I was like, sure, of course. I'm at that point. It's an unplanned thing. It's a spur of the moment. My session's in 10 minutes. Let's do it. So I threw a GoPro on the windshield and put one on the side of my helmet real quick. I had like 5 minutes to do it. So when I can get to the point where I can really start having these things planned out in advance, and I can definitely do stuff like that. And that's exactly what I want to do.
Sounds like you need a crew. Film crew.
Well, that would be nice too, but that's all part of growing the channel, guys. That's what I want to do. I want to grow the channel, get more people watching the videos, and then as I can bring in a little bit more revenue from the videos, then I can justify going that little extra mile for things, like maybe getting extra camera mounts, extra cameras. Like if you guys, I don't want to sound like I'm crying about this shit, but if you guys knew what I spend to make these videos and what I actually get returned off them. Like, yeah,
it's a lose.
The track stuff, I don't, the track stuff's one thing. I'm going to do that anyway, but I go above and beyond just to make videos. You know what I mean? Like buying GoPros, buying mounts, buying this, buying that. We spend a lot of money and we don't get it back.
I spend a lot of money,
but I do it because I love doing it. That's why I do it. It's just if Obviously, if the channel grows and I get big, I would be able to do it. So I'm not saying like, oh, I need to, if I don't make money, I'm not going to put out good videos. It's not that. Like, I'm still going to try my best. But obviously, if the channel blows up and I start making a whole bunch of money, then hell yeah, the videos are going to get a lot better. I'm going to have a GoPro on every corner of every car. You better believe it. So, you guys help me spread these videos and help me grow the channel. Trust me, it will only get better. It ain't going to get worse.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult because, I'd see the time investment from what little I do video wise, what I can do, and to go beyond that and, maintain a family life, a professional career life, and other hobbies and other things, it's got to be very difficult. Anyone that is doing it and doing it regularly while supporting a full-time gig, their career is working hard, and the return is generally not there. You're lucky if you can break even at the end of the year at what you spent. And, would you have done some of the mods anyway? Well, sure.
Yeah,
But,
that's what I'm
you know,
saying. Like, yeah, exactly. Like a lot of the stuff I'd be doing anyway. So that's not what I'm referring to. I just meant like, I guess a better way to put it is for me to do what I really like, what I envision when I think of, oh, look, I'm going to go to the track, I'm going to make this awesome. What I envision in my mind, like I need more, I need the channel to be bigger to do that. You know what I mean? Like I need
sure. I don't
at
think
least
anyone,
6 GoPros. You guys know the GoPros are $300 to $500 a piece, depending on when and where you buy them. You know,
honestly,
and
could you use like the sticky mounts on your, would you put the sticky mounts on your R, or would you have all suction cup ones?
we'll see that's the other thing. Yeah, like
That's the
I would
question.
use. Yeah, I would only use suction cups that are tethered. Each one of them suction cup
Right.
mounts are $40.
Yeah. And I understand they're really good. I've never put it anywhere yet, but I plan to use it soon.
And then I could do more planned out content too. Like I want to get to the point where I can drive more cars on the channel and have more people. I'm starting to get to the point where a lot of people are kind of aware of my track capabilities, and people are more willing to hand their keys over to me, and that's a good thing. And hopefully, at some point, I can get to the point where it's more planned out in advance. Like, hey, man, like I'm gonna take your car out on track and do a couple, and we're gonna make a video out of this. But you just like I've met with. Like I use an example of the ZL11LE. It's an on the spot thing. You're not gonna you're happy enough to have the opportunity. You don't want to ruin it with like, hey man, you mind if I hook up 18 cameras and like we turn
Right.
this video and like
Some people are not going to take too kindly to that.
right, exactly. But I definitely want to get to that point, no doubt.
Looks like
And
my dog
sometimes
is
I see
turning.
every time I learn a little bit in hindsight. Like after this weekend, there were things I realized I could have done to
Oh
make
boy.
a couple good videos out of the situation. And you learn after the fact. You say, hey, look, I could have done this, and that out of that situation.
This hindsight's always 2020, man. I
I
mean,
know. You
you
always
just
look
got
back
to
and you're
move
like, hey,
forward.
why didn't I talk about that, or why didn't I say this, or
I mean, there's been several opportunities here at different stages of things that were happening that I just could not physically, get myself to capture. When Reese was here doing something, that would have been great, but it would have been good content because it's not the same stuff. I just couldn't
yeah,
do
I've
it.
looked into that. I saw that the Six Media thing, but actually the what I gathered from that is that they were actually looking to help larger channels, not
Michael
smaller
Mack.
channels. Like
What's
in
up,
the one
Mr.
video
Mack?
that they had where they announced starting the Six Media, they were saying that they were saying they wouldn't turn away any channels, but they were basically like taking applications for channels to see which ones they want to help, and not trying to take anything away from that, but the way I took that was is like, oh, if we can't make money off you, we're not interested. So
Not surprised, right?
right. But yeah, they're. I'll tell you what though, his editing crew and film crew, man, those guys are something else, man.
Well, yeah, but there's a cost for that, obviously, and you have to be the part of the scheme to make them what they want and whatever else their flat rates are. I'm sure. So you know, good stuff ain't cheap.
Yeah. Sometimes, man, it's that's really the trick to it, man. Like sometimes you'd be surprised. Like I even with myself, and I really don't know shit about editing, but sometimes I'll come home and think I have nothing, and it'll turn into a decent little video, and you're like, wow, like somehow I didn't even really film anything. I just walked around, I looked at some cars, and maybe a little couple little track shots, or somehow it turns into a decent video. But those guys, man, I've seen literally. I when they came to Nashville, like I was there, and they turned that like the video that they turn out of that is incredible.
I
Like of a
guess
bunch of
it's
people
just having
standing around in the
cameras
parking
rolling
lot.
constantly and stitching the stuff together.
Yeah, that's really the hardest part, man. Is the editing and the coming up with a thumbnail and a good title and thumbnail, and just that's really where it's all at, right there.
Yep. Mr. Mac is on my channel, so I was just responded to him.
What's up, Michael Mack?
It's pretty sad when 4 sips goes right to your head. Wow. So, we got some stuff planned, Steve and I. At some point in the next, I'll just throw out 4 to 6
Barber
weeks.
was awesome, man. It was
Oh,
cold.
he's got some. Oh,
It was cold as shit, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I was killing it in the novice group too. I pretty much got kicked out of novice. They tried throwing me out of novice, but I didn't have the bike prep for intermediate or advanced group, so I had to stay in novice. Hopefully, I got some good footage of that because I was just telling them how I wasn't prepared for the camera rules that they had, but I had one session where like I was freaking killing everybody, and then one of the instructors like flew by me and started like he was pacing me. He was trying, he was impressed with the pace that I was running, so he was like got in front of me and gave me like the thumbs up, and then he kept turning it up like a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And like he would turn it up a little bit and then look back and then see that I was still there and like, holy shit, give me the thumbs up. And he just kept turning it up, turning it up, turning it up. And then finally I couldn't hang with him anymore. But hopefully I got some decent footage of that.
and when you're ripping through doing that, you're maintaining what kind of speed? Average.
Oh my God, I don't even know. It's dude on the bike, man. I can't even look.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't dare. I just thought
Yeah, I
might be
mean, I
something.
did. There's times that I probably peaked, but honestly, any time that I was really ripping, I wasn't gonna look at the dash.
Right. But
I, I,
certainly,
I figured out that actually I got faster when I realized just leave the bike in third gear for the entire track. That's how fast that bike is. Like it is so fast that it does not need to be shifted. Third gear, there's enough power to literally have traction control kick in out of every corner. So without downshifting below third, I can give it enough throttle to where traction control was intervening. And then I also had enough RPM to not need to shift into fourth on any straightaway. I mean,
that's pretty awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Now, I
I mean,
just
it's a
can't
little bit more
imagine.
fun to do some shifting, but it was faster to just leave it in third and let her eat.
Yeah, that if you've got the range to do that and the power band to support it, I mean, that's where you can keep your focus on driving and keeping it straight and everything else. That's incredible.
Yeah, I'd love to get a true tire sponsorship. That was like my number one goal for a long time. I do have a small tire sponsorship with trackdaytire.com, where I get a pretty decent discount from. But yeah, an all out tire sponsorship would be, oh my God, lovely. That's tires are probably the main thing that keep me off track. I'd be yard before the end of this month if it wasn't for tires. Let's just say that.
So, if you wanted to look at expenses during these seasons, and just take one of the vehicles, is there a way to just average out what it's costing you a month to run track?
Mm,
Or is it not something you
I'd
want to
probably
know?
rather not do that.
Yeah, I figured that. Just there's got to be fees associated, but those are a given. So I don't know if
Yeah,
those are included,
I
but
mean, my tires, I pay. Well, I don't know exactly what I pay, but the tires roughly retail for around $500 a piece, and I go through a set of tires roughly every two to three track weekends, and I usually do a track weekend a month or so during season. So that gives you a little idea of how much I spend on tires.
yeah, a lot.
A lot.
I want to double back to the car. Did you notice any differences with the tune when you were driving the 18 on track, or did you not deploy that tune for the track time? The P,
Say that again. I'm sorry, I was reading a couple comments.
um, the tune that's in the 18 now to support the nitrous.
Oh, it did very well on track.
Okay,
I did.
that's why I didn't know if you used it or not. So
Yeah, I forgot to talk about that. Actually, that was one of the things when I was just talking about. I should have, in hindsight, I was thinking I could have done a video on. I totally spaced on. But yeah, it did really good on track. I wasn't running the nitrous tune. I was running the NA85 tune. I did notice now one of the things that I warned about. It did. I believe it. It was starting to happen to me. I only ran about 3 sessions this weekend in my own car because I was instructing and driving other people's cars. And so I ended up at the last session, I ended up getting down to about a half a tank. I burned a half a tank. On the last session, coming out of one of the corners, it did kind of just start to, buck. So I'm fairly certain that issue showing its face with the E85 because a lot of guys are saying, a lot of guys that I've known to run E85 on track with these tunes have said that once it gets below a half a tank, you start to have issues. So,
interesting. And that's
other than that, though,
E85
the tune worked
specific.
flawlessly on track all day.
Is it worth running 85 on track or not really?
Mm, is it worth it? Actually, no. I'm going to say no. It's not worth it because we're talking about people that are doing track days, not competing. So no, it's not worth it. I mean, for you to run E85 on track for a whole weekend, you better have 40 gallons at least with you, aside from your tank being full. Because in a lot of areas, you're probably not going to be able to get E85 while you're there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have to remember if you can't run the car at a half a tank or less, you might even need to bring more fuel to make sure you never get below that point. So yeah, it's probably not worth it for any serious track enthusiast.
Interesting. I kind of thought it might not be worth it, but I couldn't give a reason why. It just there was a cost or availability was the thing that came up. So
Hold on, we
availability
got a
would
couple
probably be the
questions
worst
I got
thing.
to try to keep up with here. Also, because I run nitrous on my S550, I wanted to see other S550 nitrous videos, but when I search nitrous coyotes, your videos aren't showing. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I kind of felt like I had the nitrous thing on lock when I searched like 2018 Mustang nitrous or Mustang nitrous. I find a lot of my videos. So, and I do have I know nitrous I use as a tag, and I'm pretty sure I use coyote. I don't. It might be the coyotes. I mean, these tags are weird, but that's good info. I appreciate that because maybe I need to add coyotes instead of just coyote into the tag because I do use coyote in my tags, but I don't use plurally, so that could be an issue there. Maybe I should look into adding that. What tires do you run? I just bought both 3R305 and tried them yesterday. Awesome tires, especially coming from MT01 and Muscle Cop. Yeah, I was hoping to get to drive my cousin's car this weekend on track. Um, One of the things with the ZL1, and this was one of the things that had me so impressed, is the ZL11LE that I drove. Actually, the owner removed the 3Rs and he put street tire. He put RE11s on. Still a good track tire, but not nowhere near what a 3R is or a Cup 2. So I was really impressed just based on that, that the thing not even on the 3Rs was, had that much grip. But I was hoping to get to drive the 3Rs that we took off that car. We actually put on my cousin's S550. We put on the full set, the 305 in the front with the 325 rear. And from what he said, it worked out really well. I was hoping to get to drive it because I've yet to drive on those tires, but I just didn't get a chance. I was real busy with everybody else, really. But yeah, from everything I've heard about the 3Rs, especially when you compare price to the Cup 2s, it's the better choice for the track. And I've heard that they're actually a little bit faster than the Cup 2s, so I'd have to actually drive them before I tell you if I agree with that, but that's what I've heard. I actually, to answer your question though, I run Hoosiers on my R, and I also run NTO1s. So I have two different sets of wheels. When I go out and I'm trying to throw down a lap time, I throw the Hoosiers on with the carbon fiber wheels, and then I have the Project 6GR replica R wheels that I use the NTO1s on. So typically when I go do a track weekend, I run most of the weekend on the NTO1s on the replica wheels. And then like I said, usually on Sunday, I'll throw the Hoosiers on, or maybe I'll do it both days, like at the end of the day on Saturday and then the end of the day on Sunday. I'll throw the Hoosiers on and see what kind of laps I can throw down. Machine retracted. What were you saying just a minute ago, Mike?
Good question. Can I hit rewind? I don't remember. I was talking about what our future was as far as what we were going to do to my car. And I know it's not common for content creators to disclose that, and it's supposed to be a secret, but I just want people to know things are happening and are going to happen. It's a waiting game for personnel, and the people I need to do things to my car are, very busy. And sometimes out of state. So, and what we're trying to do is Steve and I are trying to hook up, and we're going to try and do two things. Accomplish a number of tasks on my car, and at the same time, record it for content for him or me or whoever. And from there, probably go live, and then I want him to drive my car because far more capable than I am. So just as an FYI, that is coming, say 4 to 6 weeks from now is reasonable, right?
Hopefully.
Like yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. I just got some stuff I got to do to the truck before I can take it on any more long road trips. I got to get some new tires and that wheel bearing replaced. But other than that, yeah.
Lots to come. You have anything else? Because I'm kind of not so. It's not such a good spot tonight. The way I feel. You think you want to carry something for a bit while I just duck out for 2 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead, and then we'll probably end it because we're already at an hour and 20 minutes. So
That's what I was thinking. And we're about 90, close to 90. Okay, good. I just need to
yep. Sent a
stretch for
previous
a moment.
message
Thanks.
yesterday, but Randy Post was driving Tesla Model 3 base.
Oh God.
No, I haven't seen that yet on the Randy Post at Button Willow in the Tesla. I haven't seen anything on that yet. Did you say what kind of laps he ran in that? Leviathan, I'm actually in Tennessee. I'm from Florida, but I'm living in Tennessee now. I wish they going back and forth with the whole if they could just like stick to like Laguna or something. I was referring to the Randy posting. If that's still like a motor trend thing that he's doing, but I know they're constantly like switching around. They're at like Big Willow, they're Laguna, they're here, they're there. It's just like, dude, can you do all the cars at one place, please? Yeah, what part of Florida are you from? I'm from Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, I did see that when I got home, man. I was super happy with that. I can't believe they actually won the 8 hour. That was cool. Yeah, my buddy Jade Buford, he's a pro race car driver for, well, he's driven for Ford. He's driven for Multimatic. Now he's driving for kind of like a private team. It's PF Racing, but they're in the GT4 series in IMSA and Pirelli World Challenge. And they were at Laguna this weekend and won the 8 hour race. So super proud. Yeah, I love it. I always wanted to move up near there. When I was a kid, I lived in Kissimmee, but before we moved to Tennessee, I was pretty dead set on moving near Orlando somewhere. Am I as fast as Jade? Yeah, right, in my dreams. Jade's typically about a half at any given track. And that's after all the work that we've done together. When I first started working with Jade, he was a solid 6 to 7 seconds a lap faster than me. Now I can get with a half a lap of what he can do. Most people are 6 to 10 seconds a lap. And when I say most people, I mean most advanced, intermediate to advanced drivers are 6 to 10 seconds a lap slower than Jade. Easily. Man, I'd love to go out to Cali. There's so many places I want to go there. I want to go to Laguna. Um, there's just California is a special place to me. Like I was ready to move to California a few years back, but business stopped that from happening. I'm just not sure I could deal with all those like emissions laws and things like that there. Yeah, that's exactly the thing. As being a car guy, I'm not so sure if California is the place for me. Yeah, I figured you were Italian, Italian Stang. I'm actually Italian too. Maybe Oregon instead. I don't know. They got some legal weed there. That's about it.
What'd you say?
Uh, oh, he said we're talking about places to move.
I
Said
want
maybe
warmer.
Oregon instead. So the only thing I could think of they got in Oregon is legal weed.
Oh, I want warmer. And I don't know. I keep coming up with Arizona, but it'd be
That's the one
different.
thing I can't understand about Cali. It's like you could smoke all the pot you want, but you can't have an exhaust on your car. I don't get it.
I don't either. It doesn't make any sense to me. But Cali is its own place, and it always has been.
Yeah, figure out a way if you could send me those videos because I want to try to get that edit done tonight. If it's already freaking 8 o'clock, so realistically, I don't want to make any promises, and you most likely see that video tomorrow. But I want to at least try to get some of the edit done tonight. If not, get it out late tonight. Yeah, so many things in California are just like perfect for me, but except for the car thing, that's about the only thing.
Yeah, that wouldn't break
And
it
I don't
one
even
bit.
know if that would be such an issue for me because really, as I've gotten older, I've gotten more away from the whole street scene. Like, I've just learned, like, if I want to go track or drag, I go to the track and I do it, you know? When I was not even a kid, 5, 6 years ago, that's how I lived my life was like, Saturday night going out street looking for street races and stuff like that. My cars were always street cars, and that's how I used them that way.
I did that, but that was a long time ago. Long, long time ago.
Well, you know what? One way I can honestly say that law did work is with the whole street racing thing. Like I got in a lot of trouble. I lost a car, had my car impounded, got arrested, and then I went through like this whole little like they make you go through this course of like all the shit that can happen to you from street racing. And they had like people that came in and talked. Like one kid, like I felt so bad for him, but like one kid like couldn't talk really, and I mean he could talk, but it was like I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it sounded like he was not all there. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of like I talk.
Yeah, exactly the way you
That's what I
talk.
was thinking. Yeah.
But yeah, and just I don't know. They just had people come in and really show the effects of what can happen from one bad situation. And I just told myself, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't cost that much to go. At the time, I wasn't really into the track thing. I was just drag racing. I'm like, dude, it's $20 to go to the drag strip. What? It's an hour away. It's not worth it.
I
It
mean,
took,
you could let it
my
rip.
life was affected for that for 2 years. Like it took that long to get. It took me a year to get my license back, but it took me that long to really like put everything back together. Like all the fees that it cost me, the car, the getting my license back, and then like insurance was more for a while. It just finally I was just like, you know what, forget this. It's not worth it. It really isn't. I'm not saying I've never been in another street race since, but I don't go looking for it anymore. Like I literally used to go looking for races.
It's amazing how things change when you get older. It happens whether you want it to or not. When you hit your 40s, you'll start thinking a bit differently, and when you hit your 50s, it'll be different again. It's going to happen whether you want it to or you're trying to or anything. It's just the natural progression. And for the most part, you'll look back on things you did, the previous decade and go, "Oh, what the hell was I thinking?" Or, "Man, I was nutty," or whatever. It's okay. It's part of life. Get older, wiser, or supposedly wiser. Nothing wrong with that. Why put yourself in jeopardy if you can go do it for whatever it costs on the track?
And the funny thing is it's more fun on the track.
I bet you don't have the
On the
worry
street,
of
on the
of
street, you
getting
never really
in
get your
trouble.
rate. It's always like, all right, hurry, all right, nobody's looking, or let's do it. Oh, that didn't work.
Yeah, no, no doubt. I mean, yeah, outside of waiting your turn, which I understand this time of year can be, a long wait if it's drag racing because everyone's trying to get their runs in. You don't have that part of it to worry about, you know. So
Yeah,
definitely a
and
better
in
place to
Florida,
be.
where it happened to me, they do not play with that anymore. Because I mean, in Florida, street racing's a huge scene. So they have some pretty stout laws in place nowadays for that.
I would guess
They
in
will take
Texas
your
as well
car.
because Texas has got all those monster freaking cars and a monster
They
street
have
system.
a I had to get rid of my car because of it. They have a rule in Florida where, like, if you get caught, first of all, even first offense, your car's getting impounded for 10 days, and it's 10 business days, and that's at your expense. So 10 business days, it works out to, like, 14 days, 13 days usually. And then they're charging you, like, $50 a day plus the tow. But what happens is once your car has been once your car in your name has gone down for street racing, if that car under your ownership gets caught again for street racing, they take it. It's gone.
Yeesh.
Right. So once, I mean, being the way I was with car, I mean, I knew that, I knew I wasn't going to go looking for street racing anymore, but I knew that I just couldn't own that car anymore because of that. Because I couldn't have that be a possibility that, even if I'm speeding one day or something and they say, "Oh, you were speeding next to another car," that's racing. They can take my car away and you don't get it back. So those laws definitely changed my outlook on street racing.
They still do it though, like it's nothing. I mean, I don't really
Well,
look
see,
for
a lot
those
of people
clips.
don't realize what they had. That's kind of the group I fell into. Like, I've never been an ignorant person. Like, I knew what the consequences were, so to speak. But I think a lot of people don't really sit there and realize what the consequences really are.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Plus,
Hey,
the one main thing for me was when I went to that little course, and one of the people that they had on the video, this was on video, was somebody that went down for murder. A normal, 19, 20-year-old kid that never broke the law in his life, never really did anything wrong, was a good kid, got good grades in school. His life was over and he got 20 years in prison for manslaughter.
yeesh.
Because if you're street racing, and this is Florida again, I don't know if this is everywhere, but in Florida, if you're street racing and somebody dies from the effect of an accident that happened while you're street racing, you're getting a manslaughter charge.
That's just that is life changing. You're not gonna erase that like some other situation when 7 years if you go bankrupt or something you can kind of start over. That's you're done after that. Life will never be the same.
Yeah. Speaking of Miami-Dade and that area, I used to when I don't know if they still do this anymore, but when I was a kid, it was I-27. We used to go out to 27 in the middle of the night, and, like, the shit you see in Fast and the Furious, like, that was real. We had, like, hundreds and hundreds of cars on the side of the highway lined up, and we would literally shut down the highway and race. I
Yeah,
can't
I don't
remember
think.
what gas station it was. There was this one gas station where we always used to meet up at, right off 27. I want to say it was like a Sunoco. Did they still go out there to 27? That's crazy.
Route 27 in Rahway, New Jersey was a short strip that was, right around the quarter mile mark, and we used to race on that all the time. And it was the scene back then was much different than it is now. But it's funny; it happens to be the same, same.
And that brings back so many memories, man.
Oh yeah, like
I did some crazy stuff back then.
yeah. I have my skeletons in my closet too. Sure, no doubt. But nobody got hurt. Nobody got in trouble.
Yeah.
I can. I
Well,
can.
maybe not the latter. Somebody got in trouble, but nobody ever got hurt. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's different now. I mean, what was bad back in my day is laughable today, too. As far as what someone's willing to do. Seriously, I mean, it's different. It's just times have changed. There's less respect for the law in most cases, and there's less respect for consequences. I think there was more. I'm not saying my generation was better. It's just it was different. And you know, what we thought was bad back then was underage drinking. We all had fake IDs, and it worked. I typed them up, and my buddy somehow got the paper because back then licenses were paper, and we were at
I mean,
bars.
that's what I would consider like what we used to do on 27. That's what I would consider organized street racing. And I don't disagree with that as much as what I'm referring to. Like when I got caught street racing, it was literally street racing. Like that's what I say is really dangerous and really stupid.
Right.
Like when you pull up, when a little WRX pulls up next to you just out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden you guys give each other the look, and then start honking. That's what's really stupid. Because but what we used to do on 27, that's what I would consider organized street racing. And it really was, we were doing the right thing. We were going out on a desolate road in the middle of the night, and we had cars up in front of us looking for not only cops, but for other cars, to let us know what was up there. And we would stop the traffic. We had two or three cars that would all slow down and weave if we had to keep the cars from passing us. And we would just wait until we had a totally open highway in front of us, and then we would go. That's organized street racing. We used to do it all the time. We used to do that shit like on I-95. Like when I was like 17, 18, we would get on I-95 with like 10, 15 cars and do that shit. We would have 3, 4 cars just literally block the whole highway and stop on the middle of the highway. People honking, honk, honk, honk. And then we would have the other cars driving straight up until we get like a mile empty piece of highway. Cars behind us freaking out.
Well, I would be freaking out if I was
And we
behind
would
you.
race
That's
like
for
that.
damn sure. I could see that.
No, this is the same room I've been in the last couple weeks. Oh, actually, yeah, I was sitting right over there like 2 weeks ago. It's the same room, but on the other side of that room. The room that we started in was my office that I work in. It's just the Wi-Fi is really crappy down there. Well, it's not crappy down there on my PC, but I still don't have a webcam for that. So I use my laptop up here. I'm sitting like 5 feet away from the router so that I get a good stable Wi-Fi connection. But yeah, I mean, it was dumb what we did, but at the same time, like that's the way we justified it. Like we were keeping people safe. Like we're on the highway, so there wasn't a chance of anybody pulling out in front of us, and we were stopping the cars from passing, and we weren't racing through traffic. Yeah, it was dumb and crazy, no doubt. We used to race spots behind Leicester's and stuff. In I think that was Pompano. Can't remember. It's been so long. But we used to have cops that used to come out there and let us do it because they knew we were trying to like do the right thing in the sense that maybe we weren't at the track, but we were avoiding traffic and we were doing things to, stop traffic, whatever we had to do to keep it safe. We did it. Yeah, the streets are convenient. That's exactly what it was. Like when you had an argument with that's what it usually was with my group. Like it would be an argument. And then that's how we would end up doing those I-95 things. It'd be an argument, pop out, like, oh no, I'm telling you, I'll smash your ass. Let's do a second gear roll. Second gear roll, I'm telling you, you're done. And then that would turn into a 10-minute long argument. And next thing you know, you're like, all right, that's it. Call up we're doing this. And we would do that in the middle of the day on I-95.
That's crazy.
I wish I still had some of the footage from back in the day because I think that would be like awesome YouTube footage, just being like so old and real and like.
No doubt. No, I mean, it would be on par with what's happening today. It's just, it would be, 10, 15 or so years ago. So it would, you'd see different cars and different, everything, so it would be great. It'd be great. I mean, it's one of those things where who would have known what would become of anything, I mean, whether you don't know what's going to happen with a product or a car or anything, or what's current, what is going to be in 10, 20 years. I mean, if you did, you'd be able to make some really wise purchases and be set with money because you'd be able to.
That's almost exactly what I'm talking about that time too, when the Terminators were really just coming out and people were just starting to realize how capable they were. At the time I had a Vortex supercharged '89 Celine Fox body, and I also had nitrous on it, of course, like everything else. And man, I used to hand out some ass kickings with that car. Nobody ever expected it to be so fast. But it was just stupid.
Oh, nitrous with the Vortex? That thing must have ripped, dude.
Oh my God, dude.
The notchback, did you say?
It was a hatch.
Oh, it was a hatch. I'm sorry. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it made 525 to the tires off the bottle. And I mean, the car was light, and back then that was basically like a blower swap Terminator is what it would take to beat that car.
Yeah, that's power, and also not much weight. So, yeah, that was good recipe for ass kicking.
And at the time too, I mostly only knew F-body guys, so I was always like the one guy with the Mustang, hanging up with a bunch of Camaro and Firebird guys. Needless to say, they hated me.
Right.
And I loved it.
Always got to be the odd man out. You can't be the same as everyone else, Be unique.
Yeah. All right, well, we're an hour and 43 in, so you want to wrap this thing up?
Yeah, thanks, guys and girls, for attending. Not one of my best days, but, we're going to have good and bad. And thank you for carrying the show as usual, man. And you and I will hook up prior to the next one and discuss a few things for what we want to do going forward.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll have probably at least a few videos out this week, guys. I got the track day from TGPR, and then hopefully I have enough good motorcycle footage from Barber that I can make some kind of video out of that. So look for that, and then hopefully I'll have the car ready to do that 150 shot pass. I'm not sure if the track's going to be open this weekend, but I'm gonna try to have it set up for this weekend if it is going to be open. If not, hopefully next weekend.
And I'm trying to get an oil change in my Mustang Wednesday. In fact, I'm trying so hard, I'm bringing my friend in case I can't drive. Because it needs it. It needs it. So probably going to have just some generic content come out if I do it, just for the ride. And I'll be at a nice big Ford dealer, see what they have, and maybe even do some test drives if I'm physically up to it. It just depends. But that's my plan. So
Yep.
thanks for tuning in,
Alrighty,
guys.
cool.
Steve,
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Talk to you later, man.
Alrighty, man.